The A.T.F. bans braised pistols. The A.T.F. bans braised pistols. Not a good time to be a gun owner. Civil war. With that, I would like to say, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Ruach Kodash, Thawada, Yahweh, for giving us Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who have the 100% spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahshai in them. Double honors to the CT bishops, elders of GMS, our big brothers. Greetings and salutations to the brothers in this country and all over the world who are prophesying in the true name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, which is none other than the power of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and anybody who are descendants from those people on their father's side. Shalom to those who are scattered abroad. Shalom to the Akim and Akwith. I'm Yaquab, Lord willing, serving the King of the universe. All right, King Yahushai, from the power of Yahweh. All right, and man, very excited to bring forth this show. Again, the title is the A.T.F. bans braised pistols, right? And not a good time to be a gun owner. And it's a video that basically we're going to look at a 10-minute video. It's a 15-minute video that I'm going to post in the description. I saw it today, and we're going to look at 10 minutes of that in a sec. And the title reads, A.T.F. bans braised pistols and turns millions of Americans into felonies. All right, and this is from Mr. Guns and Gear B channel. I'll post this again in the description box, okay? But I saw it early today, and I said, oh, man, I got to, Lord willing, to do something on this, man. So the Wada Yahweh Shemai Shah, the Lord made me find this. And but it's a big deal because the first thing I thought of was, the government, the American government, or Babylon the Great, as known in the Bible, is disarming the citizens, man, like it's been doing with certain gun drives, dealing with gangs, whatever have you. That's been going on, laws put into place that to slowly, gradually take away the rights of gun ownership, which let me start to say that here at GMS, the Armed Apostles of GMS, we do not believe in guns. The guns is the sword of truth. The Bible, the Spirit of the Lord, the Holy Spirit. We don't believe in guns, man. And we don't, I don't personally own a gun, and I would never own a gun. And before the truth, I never even believed in that. I believe in, weapons of self-defense, machetes, whatever have you, a dagger or whatever, things of that nature for self-defense. But as far as guns, no. And again, as a disclaimer here at GMS, we do not promote guns or carry guns, all right? Now, unlike other camps out there, who sell T-shirts saying "I'm a proud Hebrew gun owner," and you see without the latest dudes without the Akim, you have pictures out there where some people with the fringes and having guns, but that's not the majority show I want to concentrate on. I've done shows on that before. I'll post it in the description. But anyway, the point I want to go into, when I first saw this video, I thought of instantly that there's something going to go down pretty soon, and then this is a big law that the A.T.F. is putting in to basically disarm the citizens for when they make their big move into the communities, and they're just trying another law to make it more harder for people to have guns. And we're talking about a 5-10 year penalty of this. Okay. What else? So before I show the video in under 2 minutes, just to make quick talking points, which I'll make these points again after the video. I got 3 scriptures I want to go into, which is basically Esau bearing the sword. Again, showing a scripture like I just mentioned, that the sword of a man of the Lord, or a believer of the Most High, right, which is Yahweh Shema Shai, is this truth. You know, that's the spiritual power, or the Holy Spirit of understanding. That's our power, man. This word, right, Yahweh Shai, right. And then lastly, to go into what this means, you know, I believe this is all gearing towards civil war, because, you know, the people who are proud gun owners, which are mostly Edomites, right, there's going to be a big pushback, man, and they're not gonna go for this, man. All right, they're not gonna go for this because, you know, once this, as the video is gonna say, this video I found on this was posted on the 13th. Today's the 17th, 4 days ago, and if that's today's Monday, yeah, so it would be today. So today would be the day, the 17th, I believe, that the ATF put out the letter, that's going to put out the letter of this law, of this new proposal, and 120 days from this proposal, that the laws will be enacted. So we're talking about sometime in April or May, right? And if you get caught with having a brazed pistol, which is basically an extension to some extent, we're talking about 5 to 10 years in jail, and you instantly become a felon. You instantly become a felon, all right, overnight. Okay. So that, you know, basically, I mean, I'm not going to go into the technicalities. A brazed pistol basically means, like, not all guns are going to be considered illegal, but basically guns with certain attachments and certain barrel attachments, whether it be to extend it, whatever have you, and things of that nature. So the video is going to explain that. And, you know, the one thing I want you to notice before we look at this video, you know, it's an Edomite, of course, you know, because that's their spirit, the weapon, is that you can see the nervousness and the fear, you know, the fear in his face, you know, which is kind of funny, man. You know what I mean? You can see the fear in his face, you know, because like he said in the video, he said that this is the most dangerous time he's ever seen, I guess next to 9/11, but this is the most dangerous time, or dangerous proposal that the government he's ever seen in his whole life. And he's right, because we're coming into a year, you know, another thing that's out there, the purge laws. I'll just say the purge laws, which is in Illinois, Chicago, or Illinois, Jersey, Ohio, and that's going to spread apart. So again, coming to some dangerous times, man. And this is the worst time for them to restrict certain laws on gun ownership. All right. So first, I'm sorry, let's look at what the ATF is, so you know what that is, and then we're going to look at the video. It's about 10 minutes, so I got it right here for you. All right, let's look at, I'll just read it out. Right, the ATF stands for, by the way, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I should have said that first. Right, so it says ATF is a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Right, it's a government agency. It says about the ATF, it says about the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. We partner with communities, industries, law enforcement, and public safety agencies. All right. And I'll maybe post the site on the description box as well, if you want to, you know, take a look. Now, I highlighted some questions that maybe one would have about the ATF, right? Again, it stands for Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. It says, what exactly does the ATF do? It says the ATF protects the public from crimes involving firearms, explosives, arson, and the diversion of tobacco products. It says regulates lawful commerce in firearms and explosive, and provides worldwide support to law enforcement, public safety, and industry partners. It says regulates lawful commerce in firearms. So they, you know, another thing they're saying behind the scenes is that, which is going to cover in the video, which is a big tax revenue. You know, they're losing about $250 million. And that's why they're coming down in this too, with certain taxes and loopholes with these brazed weapons that they're not charging. All right. All right. Now, the next question is, can the ATF take your guns? It says the ATF has the authority to seize and forfeit firearms, ammunition, explosives, alcohol, tobacco, and other assets used in criminal activity under the Department of Justice Asset Forfeiture Authority. Next question. It says, as the ATF, is the ATF the FBI? The FBI is a primary law enforcement agency for the U.S. government, charged with enforcement of more than 200 categories of federal laws. The DEA is a single mission agency charged with enforcing drug laws. The ATF primarily enforces federal firearms statutes and investigates arsons and bombings. Is the ATF law enforcement? Next question, right? It says ATF is a law enforcement agency in the United States, Department of Justice, that protects our communities from violent criminal organizations, the illegal use and trafficking of firearms, and the illegal use of storage explosives, acts of arson and bombings, acts of terrorism, and illegal diversion of. All right, so you'll be an idiot to put, these other camps holding guns and with fringes on. I mean, again, we at GMS, Storm of the Apostles, down. We do not promote it. We don't believe in it. We believe in the spiritual weapon of the Lord. All right. Now, that was the little intro and the explanation of what the ATF is. Now, let's look at this video. I'm going to show about 10 minutes of this video. All right, so let's take a look. And again, I want you to look at this guy's fear and nervousness. All right, let's play. 10 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. As you probably guessed from the title of this video, we have some very bad news for a lot of American gun owners out there. And even for folks who don't own guns, this is terrible news because of the type of precedent that it tries to set by the federal government. So long story short, we're going to presume that most of you guys have seen my videos before on the ATF and their brace. Obviously, I'm not putting this video up on YouTube right now because I can't. I'm suspended from YouTube. So if you guys are watching this video anywhere besides Rumble, head over to my Rumble channel and subscribe, because that's the main place for this video during my suspension. So bottom line is, today is the 13th. The ATF just dropped their quote-unquote final rule for firearms with attached stabilizing braces. I'm going to read a couple. Bottom line is, today is the 13th. The ATF just dropped their quote-unquote final rule for firearms with attached stabilizing braces. I'm going to read a couple things from it, but kind of big picture. Let me give you a quick overview here first. Number one, this is to go into effect 120 days from the day it's published. That will probably be Monday. We don't know that yet for sure.
So today's Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday. So this was on the 13th on a Friday. So they probably released a letter yesterday.
Very likely. That will probably be Monday. We don't know that yet for sure, but very likely. There will be, at that point, of course, criminal penalties for it. I have spent the last 45 minutes reading all of these documents. I have not read all of them because this is so huge and so comprehensive, and so many people are going to be impacted by this. So again, the rule is going to go into effect 120 days from publication, probably Monday. Anybody who has a braced pistol that I am aware of, they have an exception in here that I've seen, but I've not seen an example of the exception. We'll get to that here in a second. So on the macro overview, anybody who has a braced firearm, if you don't go through the ATF's approved options that we're going to talk about here in a second, you will be a felon overnight, and you will be facing up to 10 years in prison and $10,000 per firearm that you are in possession of. Again, as of 120 days from now, according to the ATF. And again, just kind of on the big picture level, the ATF does not have the ability as an executive agency to pass law. And what they're trying to do here is pass a law without Congress being involved or the president. So nobody's passing it in the legislature, and the president is not signing it. They're just saying this is now the law, and upwards of 40 million, very likely much more than that, American citizens, like I just mentioned, will be turned into felons overnight. Again, before I get into the details, what do I suggest you do? Number one, blow up every single one of your political representatives, whether they be federal congressmen, state representatives, your governor, whatever the case may be. Everyone needs to oppose this on every level, because it is one of the most dangerous things I've seen by the federal government during my lifetime, if not the most dangerous. Well, there are probably more dangerous after 9/11, but regardless, it's up there with it. It is that dangerous. This is extremely, extremely dangerous should this go into effect, and you guys are going to see why here in just a second. So getting into what is actually posted, and again, I'm going to link down to this below in the video description. You guys can check it out and do your research yourself. There will probably be a follow-up video because, again, there is a lot to read here. I have not read all of it. I've skimmed over it, and I just want to get this out so everybody knows. You can share this with all your friends on all the social media platforms, because this is crazy. So basically, it says January 13th, 2023, today. The A.T.F. published the final rule, factoring criteria for firearms with attached stabilizing braces. So what is a stabilizing brace? It is this, in all types of variations of this, a device designed for people who are handicapped that you can put your arm through to make you a more accurate shooter, should you be disabled. So if you have one of those 120 days from now on a firearm, it will be considered a felony for every firearm. Again, literally over 40 million Americans have these, and it's probably higher than that, but at least that many. And so basically what it says is that constitutes a short barrel rifle if it is on a firearm with one of those braces attached and the barrel is less than 16 inches or 18 inches if it is a shotgun. It goes on to say this is the exception, but I've read through, again, a good bit of this, and I've not seen an example of this, but they do say that there's an exception. The rule does not affect stabilizing braces that are objectively designed and intended as stabilizing brace for use by individuals with disabilities and not shouldering the weapon as a rifle. Such stabilizing braces are designed to conform to the arm and are not a butt stock. However, if the firearm with the stabilizing brace is a short barrel rifle, it needs to be registered within the 120 days from the date of publication of the Federal Register. So that entire paragraph completely contradicts itself. So again, this clearly, with this wraparound in this slot here to put your arm in, is clearly designed to aid someone who is handicapped in firing a firearm. It's very clear. The majority of the examples that they show here have something similar to this. Not all, but most of them do. So again, it's very contradictory. Let me get into basically a few examples, and we'll roll them in here on screen so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. But this is all straight from the ATF's website. So right here, you see a Daniel Defense DDM4 SBPDW. I have a video on this on my YouTube channel, but you can see that it does have an adjustable brace on there. Other AR style guns with different braces are there. Here's one, which is an FN, which has this very brace on it. They say that this is now a short barrel rifle. Continuing on down to different styles of guns. You can see an AK style gun here with a 9mm with a side folding brace. Once again, it has a loop around it that you can easily run through your arm for somebody who is handicapped and wants to use it as such. Another example as we go down here with another brace that is designed for handicapped folks. And they have different, options here. We have some bolt action options here, which are designed, again, for handicapped folks, but they're saying are now short barrel rifles. And the list goes on, but you guys can get a pretty good idea here of what the ATF says is a violation of this. They also have released some not as common guns like an Uzi that you guys see here. They also have some Glock kits that are adapted for folks who are handicapped. You guys can see those here. But again, you get a pretty good idea that just about every single stabilizing brace in America, according to the ATF, is now part of this and is now a short barrel rifle. And once again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Everyone who has them, including people who have no idea this happened, because again, Congress didn't vote on it. It was not debated. It was not passed in law. The news probably isn't covering this. After 120 days after the date this is published, which again is probably going to be Monday, will be a felon in possession of a National Firearms Act firearm. So the ATF put this chart up here that you guys can see. I'm obviously going to focus on the individuals because that is the majority of you, but they also have some guidance for law enforcement agencies, federal firearms licensees like myself, and others. But basically, they consider you the person. This is literally how they define you in the table. They define you as an unlicensed possessor. Unlicensed possessor. So here's some options as to what you can actually do. You can replace the short barrel with what they're calling a short barrel. You can replace the short barrel in your firearm with one that's 16 inches or longer. You can remove the brace so that it cannot be reattached. Now, I've read through this, and again, I see nowhere listed that they actually tell you what that means or what that definition is legally. Again, it's not a law. This is the A.T.F. just making it up, and they're using this chart here as a way to explain it to you. It may be defined in the literature, but again, I've read through a lot of it. I've not seen that yet. They also say that you can forfeit your firearm to the local A.T.F. office. Now, I try not to give legal advice here. I'm not an attorney, full disclosure. That said, do not ever give your firearm to the A.T.F. All you're doing is submitting evidence of a possible crime. Don't do that. You have a right to not incriminate yourself. Do not do that. The A.T.F. says you can destroy the firearm. There actually is guidance, not in this rule, but in actual laws on how firearms can be destroyed. And here's the big one that I think they want to get most people under. So I should also mention that in the explanation of this ruling, they mention that there's over $250 million that they're losing every year. And they don't explain what that means. But what my opinion of what that means is that they estimate that $250,000 of tax revenue they're missing out on because folks have braces. And again, I realize a lot of people watching this don't know what I'm talking about. So if you were to create a firearm, let's just say an AR-15 for simplicity's sake, and you put a stock on it, not a brace, you put a stock on it and your barrel was 10.5 inches. In order to legally do that in America, you would need to submit a tax stamp application for a $200 stamp for a short barrel rifle, which is a legal class of firearm in America. So what they're saying here, at least the way I read it, is that they're missing out on $250 million in tax stamps not filed. Is that a motivation as to why they're doing this? Certainly possible. There's a lot of other motivations, though, that we can expound upon later on. But the option that the A.T.F. gives you as a quote-unquote unlicensed possessor is that you can register on an E-form 1, during the 120-day compliance date period, which is there. And it says in parentheses, and this is key, this is what they're trying to do to entice people to do this. It says, not required to pay the $200 making tax during the 120 days. Couple issues with that. Number one is that they're trying to give you a quote-unquote grandfather clause, which, again, they legally can't do. The A.T.F. does not have the ability to do that. If it is, in fact, a short barrel rifle, they're mandated by Congress to collect the tax on that. So they can't do that. Number one, it's illegal for the A.T.F. to do that. It's also illegal for them to declare these short barrel rifles.
All right, that's about it. That's 10 minutes. Ooh, man, this is nice, man. And you can see the worry in his face. The thing is, the government can do whatever they want, Things can change just like that, as you can see. So again, that guy's a pure, he looks to me, that proves he's an Edomite, You can just overall not tell by his appearance, but overall by his spirit, And his page, it's called Mr. Guns and Gear, just like his forefather Esau, man. And you can tell, and basically, he has the American flag on his thing. You'll see on the video and little post that he posts himself that the spirit of Edom, man, they love their guns, and they love their fake constitution, their delusional constitution, which is not real, so at the end of the day, this fake constitution, or not should I say fake, I'll say your delusional constitution, or your I'm not hitting the words here, but basically that it's not it was set up to fail, man. You can't rely on your government, to help you out in this situation, man. The government is against the citizens of America, or Babylon, all right? And overall, the Most High is, all right? Because at the end of the day, like the scriptures, one of the scriptures I want to bring out, the Most High is, casting a lot of division. And these are the main things that's going to devise, cause more division in the country that's already greatly divided in the first place, especially when Trump got into office and afterwards. Even when what's his name? Obama got into office, man. I believe when Obama got into office, I think it was the number one in 2008 and 2012 was the highest gun in sales. Next to 9/11 was the highest gun sales in the country. It was a record. When he's not an Israelite, but when a colored man got elected president, man. Why? Because Esau, he hates the so-called blacks, man. He hates Israel. But again, Obama's not an Israelite. He was posed to be black, right? But anyway, so I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures. This will be in the description. But again, a few talking points to say, again, let's review, is that, again, it's funny how he's backing and supporting, begging his fellow Edomites or his fellow countrymen to write to congressmen and whatever have you. But again, this country is I don't know why I'm tongue-tied now. I do have a phrase for it, but your constitution is basically not real. It's a fake, it's a phony, and it could, you have amendments that change every week, so this is going to be passed into Congress. They can do whatever they want, and it's a government who wants to disarm the people, man. Because like we've always been saying here at GMS, starting from the top, they're going to create that civil war, and that's one of the slogans of the nation of Edom rulers, the ruling banking families, the international banking families, is what? Even on your own dollar, part of the New World Order slogan is to divide and conquer. That's their formula, right? To divide and conquer, which is really the spirit of the devil, man, right? The spirit of the devil divides people to conquer them, man, especially to your alphabet agencies, intelligence agencies that breed off of many different groups to start many different wars and to put their and to set up situations where people go against each other. All right, so I see civil war. All right, and especially in these purge times, it's gonna get crazy out here, man. Okay, you instantly become a felon. This will be enacted under what, around 120 days, making you a felon as soon as this hits law. 10 years in prison and $10,000 in fines with each firearm that you get charged with. All right, and that's about it, man. So let's get into these scriptures, and I'll just finish off on that. All right, those are the talking points. Let's get let's get this one. Let's get the blessing of Esau real quick. All right, let's get the blessing of Esau. This is the Genesis to prove that, this is their spirit and not our spirit, not Jacob's spirit. But yet you got other false camps posing as, which is all done by Esau anyway, as agent provocateurs, promoting men with garments, believing in guns. We don't believe in that here in GMS, man. And if you do, you're going off, man. All right, that's not the spirit of the Lord. Genesis chapter 27. Okay, verse 34. I'm going to read the whole thing. It points in like 40, right? Genesis 27 to 34. It reads, and when Esau heard, it says, and when Esau heard, which is Esau in the Hebrew, is what? Ishashwa, which means wasted away is he. That's the wicked fraternal brother of our forefather Jacob, who is later his name changed to Israel. He is the prince of the power, the heir to the throne of the new world. All right, which is through his son Yahushai, right? Well, through his son Yahushai, claim, the rulership on earth with his chosen people, starting with the elect, all right, the chosen, the elect of the elect, which is the government body, and then you got the friends and the families and the believers of the nation of Israel. So that's Israel, man. All right, we're next in line to rule forever. We're in that time. But Esau's our wicked brother, which is none other than the nation of Edom. All right, and Esau in Hebrew again is Ashashua, which means wasted away is he. What is wasted away? His skin pigmentation. You have no color. You're translucent. All right, you would call it vitiligo today. In the scriptures, it's called leprosy. Okay, you're a clean vitiligo. You're a clean albino. All right, that's a curse. Just like Cain got, proving that you are Cain reincarnated, because reincarnation is in the Bible, man. All right. And Esau is the father of the Edomites. Edom means what? Red, or Edomites means red man. All right. Matter of fact, you can look at him. He looks. Look at this guy. Let's take a look at this guy, man. All right, look at this guy. He has that translucent skin, that red hue, and look at that. Look at that spirit. You got that red thing in the background. All right, this man's an Edomite. Overall, you can tell by his name, Mr. Gunslinger, right? That's his blessing, the sword, the gun. We're reading it right now. So it says, okay. So it says, and Esau heard the words of his father. He cried with a great exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and had taken away thy blessing. Okay. Slart. Slart. Camera's a little off. All right. Okay. It says, and he said, is it not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? All right. And that Jacob is an omen, like Apostle Gab always goes into, a name depiction, name vibration, right? Name description, which we take on the characteristics of our names, right? And hence Esau, right? Ishashua, wasted away is he. And Jacob, our vibration is what? We overthrow everything, or we supplant, right? And the ultimate supplanting is that we're going to supplant in the latter days and take over this kingdom. Let me get a precept. We got to get these we got to explain precept upon precept, right? That's the ultimate omen of our people, that we're going to take over in the latter days only by the Spirit of our Lord, all right? Because that's prophecy, right? We're in a time of prophecy right now. So this is Ezra chapter 6. This is out the Apocrypha. Ezra chapter 6, verse 7. It says, Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So basically, the parting asunder of times. When is going to be the 8 times of the ages of when the wicked, the time before the kingdom comes to pass? All right. When's it going to be that specific time? This is what Ezra asks an angel, right? What shall be the parting asunder of times, or when shall that be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said, when he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born. Who's Abraham, Isaac? Abraham, Isaac is the forefathers, is the grandfather of Isaac, of Jacob, and Isaac is the father of Jacob. So, and that's the promises upon Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Americans, we are descendants of our forefathers who received the promises, man. We're going to get that promise, man. And we're reading it right now. It says, it was said unto me from Abraham, from Isaac, and to Jacob, and when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, right? For Esau is the end of the world. For Esau is the end of the world. Now that word world there goes back to the word eon, right, in the Greek, which means ages. So remember, Ezra said, what is going to be the parting sunder of times, or ages? Age is a time period, right? The golden age is the bronze age. So Esau's age, or Esau's time, right? So it's not talking about the planet right there. That's why you got to go into these words. It says, for Esau, or the translucent pale skin, okay, or the see-through boy, people, right? For the leopard one, for Esau is the end of the world, right? And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand, the other question. Okay, so that was it. So again, it says, of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. When you go back to Genesis 25th chapter, it talks about the story of when Jacob, our forefather, and Esau were born. And it actually happened when Esau was born first, right? Which is according to the law, when you have a first child, if it be a son, he's the heir to the father's throne, or he has the birthright he has the inheritance, right? So that's when we read in Genesis, Esau said he supplanted me these 2 times, because what happened in Genesis, that Jacob supplanted Esau, right, for his birthright. Why? Because he despised the birthright. He don't care about the laws of the Lord. All right. Why? Because he just came from hunting in the woods, just like this guy is called, with his gear. He hunts, goes in the woods with a weapon, and he wanted some bloody meat to eat. If you go into the story, but let me just speed this up. It says, and Jacob held the first of heel of Esau, right? For Esau is the end of the world, or the end of the time, or the ages, or his time, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And Jacob means to supplant, overthrow. So that actually happened when Esau was born, right? You had Jacob held the heel of Esau, man, or the leopard one, all right, the red one. So that was to symbolize in the latter days, which we're in right now, right, in the hopeful year of all the prophecies coming to pass, that this can very well happen, all right? If not this year, next year, but we pray this year, man, all right, if you believe in the Lord, right, that only through the Spirit of the Lord we're able to overthrow, okay? Why? Because the Most High is going to, like it's prophesied, the Most High is going to come here and overthrow all the kings of the world, man, establish his kingdom, man. The Most High is going to do it through his son, and we at that time, starting with the elect, all right? So it says, so again, your heel, and also the Achilles heel is the most vital part of your body. If you slice the Achilles, you can't walk anymore, man. We all know that. The sports brothers out there with basketball, football, you know what I mean? Look what happened to, I think, the Kobe, that was an ACL. I don't know what Kobe tear, Achilles heel? I forget what he did. Or Kevin Durant, whatever have you. What about the dude in Troy when Brad Pitt played, which is at Jake, by the way? They called his name Achilles, because how does the story go? If you remember in the movie Troy, there was an arrow that hit Brad Pitt's heel, or Achilles, and that's what got his ass killed, man. He couldn't walk. He was done. So we're gonna, after we grab him this heel, the most vital tendons in the body, right? That's gonna cut him down for good, right? So it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So I had to prove that. Let's go back to Genesis. Let's speed it up. So it says Genesis chapter 27, verse, where were we? Verse 36. It says, and he said, is not he rightly named Jacob, for he hath supplanted me these 2 times? He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. right? Because again, the blessing goes to the firstborn. But see, if the Most High is not dramatical, but full of drama, and this is the movie of the Lord, like I've made shows on that. You scroll on the page. But the best, what wins all the Oscars, right? The most dramatic movie. This is the most dramatic thing that could happen. He lost his birthright. And he supplanted, he tricked him. It says, and he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. All right. Excuse me. I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Basically, that the blessings of the inheritance of which Isaac, which I'm not going to go into that because that's too deep. Well, he's the Lord. I'll just say it. Isaac is the Lord, right? And the Lord gave the blessing and the inheritance to Jacob, man, which is really the future world to come. All right. So, and that's what that corn and wine represents. Abundance of the land, abundance of the world, the Garden of Eden, paradise, right? Rulership forever, being always supplied and good through the Spirit, man. So it says, he took me, he said, now he hath taken away my blessing, excuse me. Okay, he says, and Esau said unto his father, Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. You know, like the bitch that he is. And it's spiritual because I saw Pastor Hart go through this today as well. You know, so I was like, wow, so let me jump on this and, you know, Spirit pushing it out there, man. Brakataya Bashimai Shai. And it says, right, so he lifted up his voice and wept, just like he looked like he's about to cry, that he's losing his breathing all hard through the video, his gun rights, man. And there's nothing you can do to stop the dismantling and the disarming of the citizens of Babylon, America, man, right? Because they want that division. They want that pushback. You know, it's predicted the civil wars are going to come, right? Just look at your predictive programming network, The Simpsons. They predicted that. Anyway, it says, and Isaac his father answered his son unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Right? And that word fatness goes back to oil, by the way. Or all right, oil, which goes back to, excuse me. Let me see real quick. Which goes back to, you know, his riches that he got this whole world by, which is by oil, all right? And oil is the most abundant thing on earth. It regenerates. I want to get another word out of fatness. I don't need to do this, but, you know, right? So that fatness is, let me just get it real quick. And you can scroll down my page. I did a show on oil. That's the most abundant liquid on earth next to water. The Hebrew word is mashawan, which is from or of. It means fatness, right? Fatness, fat, like from oil or for oil. So it means fatness, fat piece, prepared food, olive oil, fertile spots of places. Fertile, yeah, that's what it is. That's what I want to get. So fertile means oil is fertile because it's abiotic. It's not biotic. Biotic means life. Oil is abiotic, which abiotic means like a sun ray or a sunbeam, or I gotta look it up to get more. You could look it up, but or magnesium, minerals. That's abiotic. It's a life force, but it's not alive. It's just something that supports life, right? Sun rays, sunbeams, minerals, things of that nature. So it's fertile. Why? Because oil regenerates itself, right? It regenerates, right? So it's not a fossil fuel because, again, I know I'm talking. Just look at the video. Let's speed it up. I'm sorry. I don't like to. We're in 44 minutes. Let me not cut myself out. I kind of battle myself with these videos, but I'm sorry. But just to explain, you can look at the video, but I'll say that a fossil fuel can be a fossil fuel because fossils are number one, they're biotic, they're life, and they say fossils come from, well, you can't find a fossil more than under 16,000 feet, right? And they drill for oil more than 28,000 feet, all right? More than 25,000 feet, 28 to 30,000 feet, right? So it can't be a fossil because, again, you can't find a fossil under 16,000 feet. Again, you can go to the video and look at that. Scroll down the page. All right, so that's the fatness. And he has rulership over the whole world by what? Liquid gold, oil. That's how you got the fatness of the earth. And creating a scarcity, right, for value to charge people of the world for gas and oils and all that. Anyway, so that's not the point of the show. So let's keep going. It says, and it says, and Isaac and his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and dew of heaven from above, right? And it says, and by thy sword, and by thy sword, and by thy sword, which in the Hebrew is karab means sword, shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck, right? So yeah, so what does that mean? That the sword is karab, which means a weapon, right? And Esau loves his weapons, as you can see, right? The rightful association, that's filled with Edomites, man. That's not our spirit. All right, so let's go back to what I had before. So that was proving that that's his spirit. All right, that's Esau's spirit, these guns. All right, so we just read Esau's blessing. Let's get Luke 12 and 49, why I believe there's going to be a civil war. Okay, because Esau loves his guns, and you're not going to take away his guns, man. And his whole heart is into the Constitution, which the Constitution is basically, it's I don't know why I can't figure out a word for this. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. Your rights are an illusion, basically, right? And you're about to find out. So this is Luke chapter 12, verse 49. It reads, it says, Luke chapter 12, verse 49. It says, I am come to send fire on earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled? Yeah. So that's what the Lord said. He says, I come to send fire on earth. What is that fire? Nuclear fire. World War III. Okay, you see what's going on over there in Ukraine and Russia and these top nations talking against America. All right, we're in World War III, but the main event didn't happen yet between America and Russia. But we're right there. We're praying in this year. You got the NATO, the European nations, the bloc over there in Europe, BLOC, the EU nations, right? The UN, right? They're getting angry with America, man, because they figure out from this damn situation with Ukraine, they're benefiting off the sufferings of the people in Europe, not able to get gas, having to buy liquid gas from America, being charged more, while the economy and inflation is rising. Economy is crumbling. The dollar's getting low, and they're buying gas from America, which is put more pockets in the corporation of America's pockets, man. While these other countries are suffering, so the EU nations are getting pissed off at that. You know, they're trying to tax them over, what have you, to get that money back. But anyway, the point is that war is coming, man. War is coming, right? And that ultimate fire And it says, what if if it already be kindled? So that's one scripture I thought of, meaning that if the Lord's going to bring fire on earth by the nuclear fire and ultimately by the chariots, the so-called UFOs, as you call them, but clouds and the chariots, as the scriptures say, because the lasers are going to come back and shoot, the chariots are going to come back and shoot lasers on earth and destroy this bitch called America and make it a lake of fire and beam up the elect to send them out of here, right? But it says, what if it be kindled? Meaning, before you start a fire, have a fireplace, you put kindling sticks in there. They keep the fire going and they start the fire, right? It's like a spark, a kindling stick, right? So, when something's already kindled, that means it's a fire start. It's already started. Sparks, right? So the sparks before this great fire that's going to be, which is America, Babylon. You have the kindling sticks are the seditions and the protests and the divisions and the killings and all the stuff that's going on all across this country, is the kindling of the destruction of America. Austerity measures, draconian laws, people dying, okay? In America, business is folding, the stock market crashing, okay? Violence, purge laws, disarming the people, like this show is. And then of civil war. Because again, there's going to be a pushback. Esau loves his illusional rights, right? He believes in the Constitution, which is fake, and they're taking away your rights. They're taking away the Second Amendment rights, man. And Esau not happy about it. So he's going to fight tooth and nail for a country that's not even real, right? So anyway, so it says, and remember that word, anyway, so the point, let's skip to verse 51. It says, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth? That's a question. I tell you, nay, but rather division. Let's read that again. So this is the Lord. Suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. All right. So the Lord says, no, I didn't come to send peace on earth. All right. I come to send division. And again, what did the Lord say about division? Matthew 12. Matthew 12. Matthew 12 says, in 26 it says, if Satan cast out Satan, he's divided against himself. Excuse me, let me start from 25. And the Lord said, Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Right? Is this not a great country or a great kingdom? Right? And if Satan cast out Satan, right? Satan means ultimately adverse or foe or an enemy. So the ultimate enemy of anything would have to be against truth itself, right? So Satan would have to be what's against truth itself, the Most High and the Lord. What's the opposite of the Most High and Lord? Satan, hence the devil, false accuser, a false accuser, which is none other than the nation of Edom. All right? Starting with international bankers. So it says, and if Satan cast out Satan, right, and so he is divided against himself, how shall then his kingdom stand? All right, which proves that that's talking about America too, man, because this is the most polarizing part. This is the most polarizing times in this nation's country. People against each other. You have identity politics. You have economies are divided. You have a big gap in the rich and poor. Or you have households are divided, right? I wrote it down. Households are divided. Divorce rates are high. Children against parents, parents against children. The government is divided against the people. People don't believe in the government no more, especially in America, right? All over the world. Race riots, race wars, gender wars, right? Rich and poor wars. People, you see over in Haiti, they're flipping up because they're flipping out over there and in over the world because they see the world. Oh, brothers came out with a show and did what the elite or the 1% has basically in the last 2 years taken over 2/3 of the world, 2/3 of the world's wealth. All right, 2/3 of the world's wealth belongs to the 1%. All right. So again, we're the most divided times ever in the history. So the Lord said, how shall the kingdom stand? Okay, if Satan cast out Satan, and all these governments and Republicans and Democrats and Liberal Party, they're all divided against each other, man. So just off that alone, all the division, the Lord says he's divided against himself. How shall the kingdom stand? It can't stand. For you to move forward, you got to move one, right? Even down to in a household. If the father and the mother don't agree, them children are destroyed, especially if they're divorced, right? So ultimately, we know that the Most High is dividing this nation. I mean, that's one of the slogans of the elites, divide and conquer. All right, divide and conquer. They know for them to rule, they got to divide the people, man. All right, because they can send in their special agents to create, instigate infightings, whether it be in the household, whether it be certain political groups and organizations, whether it be different companies, whether it be whatever, man. So they don't want harmony and oneness, right? That's how they destroyed our people, man. They took the women and divided against their man, against us. So last scripture, this is man, I forget what I think it's 1 Corinthians 10:4. Get that real quick. Let me see. Okay, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4, and the last point. Okay, verse 3, it says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Right? For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High, to the pulling down of strongholds. Right? So that was a point to say that at the end of the day, a true believer in the Most High and the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, we don't believe in guns and weapons and all that stuff. Not a true believer of the Lord through his son Yahweh Shai. What do we believe in? Starting that's shown. Who's shown their faith out there? Well, faith without works is dead. All right. Which is the hope. That's what we call each other, a hopeful elect. Why? Because hope is backed up by works. All right. You can't hope to make a basketball team without trying out. Right? So your hope and your confidence is backed up by the work that you put in. Okay? So there's no other people that's doing the work more than the members of GMS, starting with the apostles, man. And our work is backed up by what? Prophecies. All right? Bringing out the news, the gospel of true news, and the glory of our power, Yahweh Shema Shai, man. All right? Our works have proven that. We got that. We're the men, man. We're those men. And you got to believe you're a man of the Lord if you believe in the Lord. They go hand in hand, just like Apostle Rakal always goes into, man. Okay, so it says, so believing in the Most High by default, we don't believe in no fucking guns, and we just read that's not our blessing anyway. That's not our blessing. Our blessing is a word of the Lord, man. That's our sword. That's our weapon. All right. So it says, casting down again, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, right? Esau's carnal, we're not carnal, but mighty through the power to the pulling down of strongholds, right? Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of our power, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Anointed One, right? So that was the point there. Again, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. So we're not likened all our ways after the flesh, and especially after Esau's carnal weaponry, man. So, this is a beautiful thing, man. I got excited when I saw this video, smiles jumping up and down and all that, man, because to me, Lord willing, my lowly opinion, I believe this is just antagonizing a civil war, right? Disarming the people, which they've been doing. They had them gang drives, with the Bloods and the Crips turning in their guns. Then they have, I'm not going to say that. I'll say FALSE, FLAGS. All right. FF or flags. I'll say FALSE if I spell it right, flags. attempts to put in gun control laws, man. All right, so that was all done by design, and ultimately, this is another thing that they're doing: taking away Second Amendment rights, putting more restrictions, making it more difficult to own guns. Now they're taking away, braised pistols. Okay, and then if you get caught with these things, which is over 40 million, well over 40 million Americans have these things, that's instant 10 years of jail time. All right, and over $10,000 worth of fines, man. So Esau, he's not going to stand for that. He's going to fight back. So it's going to be interesting times we're in, man. And this is beautiful, man. So all I got to say is it's been an hour, so I'll finish on that. So hope you're edified. Hope you enjoyed you received the information. And I pray the Lord was with this show. So I'll say Kal Halal, which means all praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai Bahashim, Rahwa Kodesh. Double honors to the Wada Yahweh for giving us Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS. Double honors to the CT bishops, elders of GMS, Aubrey brothers, and greetings and salutations to all you brothers in this country and all over the world, prophesying in the true name of Yahweh by Shemashah. Shalom.